I'm falling in love with my roommate. I have been living with my roommate for almost a year and I am madly in love with her. It's funny how quickly everything can change. A year ago, she wasn't even in my life in the way she is now. We were acquaintances back in high school, but nothing beyond that. I knew her name, I knew she existed, but we didn't hang out. She stayed back home while I went off to college far away. Our paths didn't cross again until much later, when life threw us together under strange circumstances. I had just moved into my new apartment and needed a roommate. I'd been on my own for a while and honestly I was getting tired of paying rent on my own. She, on the other hand, had just landed a job in my city and was looking for a place. It seemed like a perfect match, someone I knew and could trust. The fact that we both wanted to save a little money was the practical reason we decided to share a place, but neither of us could have predicted the other changes that would come. At first, it was just basic roommate stuff. I'd see her around the house, we'd chat a bit about our days, but nothing special. She was always so organized, everything in its place every morning no matter what. Me, I was the opposite. I'd leave my laundry around and my half-made bed would greet her every morning. But she didn't mind. She didn't just tolerate my mess, she quietly picked up after me, which was something I had never experienced before. Then there was her cooking. I hadn't expected her to be an amazing cook, but the first time she made dinner, this Italian pasta dish, I found myself completely hooked. I didn't know how it happened, but slowly, without even trying, she had become my favorite person to share a meal with. It was like she could read me, knowing exactly when I needed food or when I needed to talk. There were nights when we'd end up in the kitchen, sharing a bottle of wine and chatting about everything under the sun. And each time I found myself drawn to her more. It wasn't just her cooking that captivated me, it was the way she carried herself. She had this energy about her, this positivity that never seemed forced. She could walk into a room and instantly change the vibe. People were naturally drawn to her. But what got me the most was how she was with me. She'd check in, ask if I was okay, offer to make me dinner when I seemed down. It wasn't just kindness, it was a genuine care that I hadn't experienced from anyone before. I started looking forward to our mornings, even the ones when I was barely awake, just because I'd get to see her face as we talked about how we were starting the day. She'd get ready for her job, always in this rush, always so composed. And me? I'd be scrambling to get myself together, which often involved her helping me out. She'd remind me to drink water, make sure I didn't forget my keys, even check if I had eaten breakfast. Little things, but they mattered. And the physical stuff, well, that started to get me thinking. She was always close. She'd lean on me when we were watching TV, playfully nudge me when I'd make a joke she liked. Then there were the times when the thunderstorms hit. Living in a place where rain was frequent, we'd often have nights where the storm was heavy. And without fail, she'd find her way to my room, asking if she could stay until the storm passed. I always thought it was a little odd, but at the same time I couldn't deny that I liked it. There was this closeness, this warmth she brought with her. It wasn't just her needing comfort, it was me needing her around too. But I didn't know what to do with the way I felt. At first, it was easy to convince myself it was just a phase. I'd remind myself that we were friends and roommates, that the feelings would pass. I had been in relationships before, but this was different. I wasn't sure if I could even label what I felt as just attraction. It was deeper, more complicated. But every time she did something like make me dinner or share something personal, I felt myself sinking deeper into these emotions I wasn't sure how to handle. One day I was rushing to leave for work and in my usual fashion, I left my bed a mess. When I came back though, everything had changed. My room was immaculate, my bed was made, my things neatly organized. I didn't even have to ask. She was standing there in the doorway when I came in, her eyes meeting mine with this calm understanding. She said she noticed I'd been on edge the past couple of weeks and figured she'd take care of it. It wasn't a big deal to her, but to me it felt monumental. She made me dinner that night, spaghetti, my favorite. I sat down with her and the conversation just flowed. Somehow, between bites of pasta, I found myself spilling my heart out. I didn't say the words outright, I wasn't ready to say, "I love you," yet, but I couldn't keep it in anymore. She understood, and for a moment we just sat there, knowing that everything had shifted. A few days later, she walked past me to her room, brushing my hand as she passed. That small gesture sent a jolt of electricity through me. I couldn't keep pretending anymore. I had to tell her. But how? We were roommates, friends. I didn't want to ruin everything. A few nights later we were on the couch watching a game together. I was always the one to get her into sports, but even though she wasn't as into them, I loved sharing that experience with her. She sat close to me, resting her head on my shoulder, and for a moment I was content. There was no need for words. Just being next to her felt like everything was right in the world. But then she spoke up, saying she was exhausted from work. I told her I needed to talk, that there was something I had to say. She sat up, looked at me with those kind eyes and waited. It wasn't easy, but I told her. I told her how much I appreciated her, how much I loved having her in my life. I told her I cared for her and asked if she'd want to go on a date with me. There was a long pause, but then she said yes. She wrapped her arms around me, and it felt like everything I had been holding back for so long finally came crashing forward. She smiled and told me that she had been waiting for me to say something, that she had hoped I would ask her out sooner. And in that moment, everything fell into place. Our first date was simple: mini golfing, then pizza, followed by hours of talking and laughing until the early morning hours. It felt natural, easy. I didn't have to worry about whether I was saying the wrong thing. We were just ourselves and it felt perfect. She told me she wanted to take me on a date next. We hadn't officially labeled anything, but I was already thinking about what it would be like to have her as my girlfriend. I couldn't wait. In just a few months, everything had changed. From the day we first moved in together, to the night I confessed, to now, when everything felt more like a dream than reality. But one thing was for sure: I was falling in love with my roommate. And somehow she was falling for me too.